Okay, looks to me like it says live, and I have made extensive efforts to have magnificent looking hair. I don't really care if it's shaved or not. So, let me see if I can figure out what the stream link is, because I don't know. It has been so long since I've used YouTube. So let's give it a try. So, the topic is that some new Debian ports installation images were released in the last 24 hours. Thanks to Adrian Globitz, who's fantastic. And I thought, well, gee, let's give it a try. And what I've done is I've plugged in and powered on the M3000 server, which is a Fujitsu M3000, which is really not, it's not exactly the greatest machine in the world, but it certainly did get the job done for some years. I was at one point using hardware domain and storage and whatnot in a Fujitsu M3000 server, which was a significant machine. This is a decent machine. The problem is it doesn't seem to run anything other than Oracle Solaris 10, which is possible. Oracle Solaris 11.3 it can run. Cannot run 11.4 at all. Won't even boot. Forget it. Psh, nothing. Just dead. Even if you try the 11.4 installation image, it just locks up. Dead as a doornail within seconds. And sadly, there's no way to get support for this kind of machine. Doesn't matter if I knock on the door of Oracle with a fistful of money in my hand. They just hang up, don't answer the phone, never return an email. They have no interest at all. SPARC is, for all intents and purposes, almost a dead platform. There's experimental type people out there, such as myself, who keep them around because from time to time we discover interesting software bugs when messing around on a big Indian machine. It's a big Indian architecture, which is to say that data goes into memory in what seems like an almost normal human order of things. When you read a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in memory, it actually looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On little Indian machines, which is just about everything else on the planet Earth, including, yes, IBM Power 9. I think Power 9 is bi-Indian still. Old PPC64 systems are long since dead. I had some Power Mac, in fact. Well, I've got a Power Mac machine down here, and I've got a couple other Power Mac G5 machines that all died in the last year. They died a horrible, painful death trying to compile Gen 2 Linux, only to discover that I didn't have the right kernel modules to manage temperature management, and so the liquid cooling pumps spun up to maximum, something like 3,600 RPM. The temperature of the processor sockets went up to 98 degrees Celsius, and the machine literally fried. You could smell burning stuff coming out of it, and then it just died. And then I tried it on another Power Mac G5, same result. So in any case, I thought, this machine is worth its weight in used tissue paper. Literally, you couldn't give away this. You can't. If you were to say to anybody with any experience, any knowledge whatsoever, say, hey, I've got a Fujitsu M3000 server with 64 gig of ECC memory in it, and if they know anything at all, they're like, it's not even worth shipping it. The best thing to do is just toss it into a recycle service and it's done. You know, it's just garbage. But earlier today, Adrian Globitz said, hey, we've got new installation images. I said, well, let's give it a try. Now, this machine has not been powered on, looked at, nothing in, I'm going to say 6 months, this entire year. Well, there it is. It says right there, last login, Monday, January the 2nd. Right there. That's the last time that machine was accessed. So let's just say, 5 months ago, whatever. I mean, when it turned into the new year, I just shut the machine down and, unplugged it and set it aside. Okay. Now comes the next hard part, which is how do I boot an installation image from Linux on this machine? Thankfully, I was able to get into the XSCF, Extended Service Control Facility, something like that. And I have access to it over serial and over Ethernet. And I think the way to go is just, Ethernet. At the moment, it's sitting there at 25.5 degrees Celsius. It may even know its altitude. I don't know. Show altitude. ALTITUTUDE or something like that. Yeah, 200 meters above sea level. It thinks. And that's strictly because once it powers up, it determines by altitude and air pressure how much air to push through the unit. And it's a noisy machine. So I put it at a distance. I got 30-meter long Cat6 cables, and I stuck it down the hall, around the corner, sitting on top of some cardboard boxes. It's at a safe distance, but it's not UPS power. So I strung UPS power to it. Now, enough of that. My next concern is just to power it on and get a diagnostics report while also trying to figure out, using this machine, this is FreeBSD 14, current. It was built in the last few days, I think. Yeah, June 4th. So this is an extremely up-to-date machine. But, or the key point is ZPool list. This machine has 3 different ZFS ZPools in it, and most importantly, it has SAS. It has a SAS backplane, SAS controller and whatnot on it, which is critical because the only disks that you can put into the M3000 over here are 10K and 15K RPM SAS disks, expensive disks that all must have on them the Sun firmware logo or the Oracle logo has to be on those disks. I think you can get away with a off-the-shelf Seagate SAS disk. I think you can get away with it. It's just I don't think the machine's happy with you. Whatever. In any case, the DVD drive in the machine doesn't seem to work, and it's a waste of time to even try. What I was thinking of doing was grabbing a SAS disk. In fact, I don't need to grab a SAS disk. There's one over here, this T0 guy. In fact, I have to become root. I think I have to become root here. I have to do that through an intermediate account, if I can remember the password. This is going to be a long, boring stream. Long and boring. A sort of boring that I actually have almost radioactive sludge in a bowl sitting in front of me on my desk. It's actually baked haddock. Sort of like a baked haddock soup melange mess, and I'm just going to be picking at it as I go through this process. Because I have no shame whatsoever, and I'll be happy to make, eating and slurping noises and whatever right on YouTube. What's the root password? Beautiful. Now, cam control dev list will give me a list of disks, and there they are. There's Hitachi. You'll notice it says Sun 600 gig right there. So Sun 600 gig, another Sun 600 gig. This is a Sun 300 gigger. That's interesting. And then this is a Hitachi. They're all Hitachi disks. What's important is that, this 1060, etc. Hitachi, this is really the exact same model as the Sun 600 gig. The difference is this is a off-the-shelf Seagate disk. It's, it's nothing particularly fascinating. These other ones are Sun disks. Like that's a Sun 600 gig. That's a Sun 600 gig. In fact, I think they got the Oracle logo on them. Relatively new. Anyway, to make a long story short, the Zpool list SAS, that guy is a Zpool made up of 3 disks, and there's like little or nothing on it. Zpool status SAS. There you go. Oh, this is interesting. Some supported and requested features are not enabled on the pool. Well, that's because I switched over to FreeBSD 14. I built FreeBSD 14 on this machine. It started as FreeBSD 13.2. So the ZFS or the OpenZFS software on it has been upgraded. Regardless, this is a 3-way mirror of SAS disks, and it does what it does. Now, there's another one called T0, that guy right there. And I think this disk, if I can just figure out in FreeBSD how to know what disk slot that's in, I think I know physically where it is, because I want to wreak havoc with that disk. And I think there's a file system on there, but it's a file system which is used during the build process. So if I do a ZFS list, type is all recursive on T0, it'll come back and show me some snapshots, and there it is, T0/OBJ, the object, USR OBJ, and that is a file system which is used during the build process. So all kinds of build objects and binaries and stuff gets built in there, and I wanted a fully separate SAS disk just for that, because there's a lot of thrashing going on when you're building FreeBSD from source. In any case, I don't really need that file system anymore. So what I'm going to do is destroy this pool entirely, just make it go away, gone. And I may actually create the USR OBJ file system on now I know this is a lot of detail going on, but in order to power on this other machine, which is the Fujitsu M3000, are you following me? Follow me down to the river on this. In order to power up this machine, I'm going to need an installable image disk somewhere on its backplane. So what I'm going to do is take the installation image over here, and I'm simply going to thrash it right onto the SAS disk that this T0 Zpool is made out of. And then it's an installable, bootable disk. It should be a bootable image, in theory. So, step 1 is, before I destroy this pool, and I realize this is a lot of shenanigans just to get started, but that's the nature of doing anything with these kind of SPARC servers. There's a lot of shenanigans and gymnastics and kung fu, woo-lee stuff you got to do to get anything done, and then there's no promise at all that any of this is going to work. No promise any of this is going to work. But anyway, it's worth a test, because I promised Adrian, I said to him, hey man, you know, I'll power up that machine and hook it up, you know, Ethernet and all that stuff, and we'll give it a try. We'll see what happens, right? The worst that could happen is smoke comes out and it doesn't boot, nothing, who knows. But the word on the mail list, if I can find the email, the word on the mail list is, let me go find the link to the mail list here. Of course, I have no idea where it is. None of this has been set up in advance. I'm just doing this, you know, best way I know how. This is interesting. I have never seen a list archive URL like that. Oh, there it is. Found it. Never mind. Bing, 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 right there. Okie dokes. So that's the mail list for the Debian ports SPARC stuff. And way down here in 2023, June, I think you'll find something from me right here where I said, you know, I shall fire up a machine and give it a test. I think I had serious problems in the past with 2 different Netra class servers. That's true. They would actually panic. But he says he's updated the kernel to 6.3. So, hey, anything's powerful. Anything's possible. And Matthew says AIX and IBM Ion Power are still big endian and likely will be forever for backward compatibility. It's just Linux that's completely ditched big endian on power. I am not the least bit surprised. That sounds completely reasonable. Now, the reason why chat is not enabled on YouTube is because I have absolutely no control, really, over comments on YouTube. I have no control over any chat interaction on YouTube. So I said, we'll just disable all that stuff. And, you know, if you check the description of this video, somewhere there it says that on Libera chat, there's a channel called Blastwave, and that's where people are chatting. And that is hidden because anything anybody posts there, I don't want it publicly on YouTube. So I see you, you see me, I can hear you, I know what you're saying, but I'm not sticking it out publicly. Anyway, I said, hey, let's give it a try. I said, I need to check if the processors are Ultra Spark 2 or 2i or whatever, and the older Netras. Maybe they're a 3, maybe it's a 3i, depending on what I have. But I have a Fujitsu SPARC64 server, and it seems to be unable to do anything other than Solaris 10 or perhaps Solaris 11.3. Definitely not 11.4. So I said, hey, let's give it a try, you know. Yeah, this is a speed run. That's exactly what this is. This is a speed run. Furthermore, not only is it a speed run, I have to hit enter over here because this thing will time me out and kick me out, the XFCF on the M3000. Yeah, this is a speed run on YouTube just to give it a try. And you'll notice I made absolutely certain that I tagged the stream and all that as, you know, safe for all ages and all kids, and I will be careful with my P's and Q's, my language, and my effective usage of nouns, and more importantly, adjectives, and dangling elliptical gerunds. So, grammatically correct or not, who knows if this is going to work. Let's get on with the job of destroying this pool, freeing up that disk, and then bombing an installation image onto it. Right. And I have food in a bowl. It looks like thermonuclear sludge. I mean, it just looks like sludge. It's baked haddock and, you know, potatoes, carrots, you know, onions on top of, there's even chicken noodle soup there. It's just like sludge thrown into a bowl that I'll pick at in this process because it's going to take time. Alrighty then. What do we do? Well, I'm going to do zpool history on T0. That's a pool. There it is. And what I will do is destroy this pool and then move that file system, USR OBJ. I don't need the contents of it. I don't need to do a ZFS send, receive, and move it over to someplace else. That's not required. I'll just dump it onto the SAS pool. So, step 1 is zpool destroy. I Don't know if I have to do a -FR or anything like that. I'll just do a, let's just destroy it. Gone. That pool's gone. That's it. That disk is now free and clear to be abused. And that disk was DA3, forget the P1. I think maybe I'll have to clean up the label on that disk. We'll get to that in a second. Next, I'm going to recreate the USR OBJ file system, except, funny enough, I had this set to copies equals 2 over here, you know, but I'm going to stick it on SAS. So it'll be on SAS / I don't know where, actually. Give me a ZFS list, recursive down SAS. There's Beehive, Slackware, Chimera, which is Dev1 Daedalus, Chimera. There's ports. So there is USR source. So what I will do is, yeah, we'll just create it that way. So SAS / OBJ. Copies equals 2? Yeah, why not? They're fast disks. Done. That's it. So now if I do a ZFS list in SAS, there should be, there it is, /USR / OBJ. The file system exists. It's mounted. There's nothing in it. I'm happy. You know. Moving on. The disk. If I go back here to cam control dev list, Bing, it says DA3 is a Sun 300 gig SAS disk. Thing of beauty. That should be immediately recognized by the Fujitsu M3000 server. Should have no problem with it. So what do we do? I think I have to do a scrub, or at least a label clear, or something like that. Gpart. Is it Gpart, I think? Gpart destroy. Give me a Gpart. Gpart show. I think I can do a /dev/DA3, something like that. There it is. Yeah, there it is. FreeBSD, ZFS. Okay. So I should be able to do a Gpart destroy. Like that. Device is busy? What do you mean the device is busy? How is that possible? Device is busy. I don't think so. I think maybe it -F, force, as in I mean it. Destroy it. Thank you. Goodbye. Right? I think there's a zpool label clear command. I think it's been a while since I've looked that up. So let me just take a quick look over here. Just a second. I have some documentation, you know, somewhere. There is a way to clear out any label that may be on it, and it would be zpool label clear. Yeah, that's it exactly. There's probably a man page on that too. Zpool -LABELCL clear. There it is. Removes any ZFS label information from the device on the outside chance, because ZFS label information tends to be duplicated at least on the disk in multiple places. So I'm just going to give it the, you know, that /dev/DA3. Very important to get the disk correct. Yeah, /dev/DA3. The last thing I want to do is a label clear on a disk which is currently spinning. Failed to clear label. Okay. Why? There's no pool there anymore. The disk is not in use. I don't know. No. Failed to clear label, which may actually be a misleading, it may be a misleading way of simply telling me there's no label there anyway, because I've already cleared out and destroyed the partition. The FreeBSD ZFS partition is gone. It could be zpool label clear, simply saying And nothing there. I can't clear anything because there's nothing there. Okay, sounds good to me. Let's curl in the SPARC 64 netinst. Copy link over here. I'm going to do curl -4-l-url bing this, and just have it dump right there. Okay, so that'll come down at ridiculous speed. Wow. We're going to go all the way to plaid to lift a quote from Spaceballs, the movie. You know, we're going all the way to plaid, high speed. That's not bad. Baked haddock. Man, it's a rich fish. Okay. So now let's dump that onto DA3. I think I can do that using just DD. Should get the job done, you know. I can do it with DD, or I can do it with a variation of that, which is written by our old late great friend Jorg Schilling. I should be able to do this. OPT Schilly share man pages SDD. I think it'll be a man page. There it is. Disk dump and restore to, from, tape, or file, copy and or reblock, etc. And it comes with all kinds of interesting options, not the least of which is you can throw out null characters into a disk fairly high speed. And there's, you know, the repo for the latest stuff on Cobird. In any case, there is an iNull up here option right there. Do not read input from a file. And this is similar to /dev0, but much faster. SDD uses a prepared cleared buffer to satisfy writes right there. iNull. So what I'd like to do is dump, let's see, how big was that Debian thing again? Well, it's not very big. So I'm going to dump some zeros though into that disk. Let me just take a look at /dev/da3. Is there anything else related to it? No, it's just DA3. So I will use the Schilly. Sorry for the flashing. Actually, I can turn that off. Bing, 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 bing. Visual bell. There. iNull. And then the output file equals /dev/da3. I don't know if I need a dash in front of block size. You know, I have a tendency to throw a dash in front of block size. Yeah, input file, output file. You don't need a dash in front of it. You can. You know, it's completely harmless. But I do want a block size in here someplace. There's sector size. Somewhere in here there's block size. And count. Bing, 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 bing. Somewhere up here. It's an option that's been around forever. And I don't see it. There's count. Isn't that interesting? I don't see block size as an option. It's down here, it's perfectly reasonable, but it's not listed in the man page, unless I'm skipping over it in some way. Huh. Isn't that interesting? Maybe the man page needs an update. Set input block size, output block size, or both. Oh, there it is, right there. Okay, so let me go back here. I will remove the dash. How about that? Block size equals, that I think is a 4K native sector size disk, but I'll say 4096. There's your bytes. Count equals, so how much of that are we going to dump on that disk? 16,384. 16K times 4. Otherwise known as, I think that's, what, 64 meg? 65,536, something like that. K. Dash T, time. It'll give me a speed, it'll give me a report back of, like, well, how fast was that? Let me just take a look. There it is, dash T, report the total time and transfer rate. Go. And I'm going to take a look over here at the back plane, and there's a green light flashing like crazy. And away it goes. Now then, in the meantime, we can talk about the weather. I got to let you know, the weather in Canada is flames and smoke. And I am definitely downstream of flames and smoke. In fact, there's a air quality health index warning in my area. Which goes from 1 to 10. And it claims for Tuesday night and Wednesday, 7, high risk. It's a campfire out there. It smells like a campfire out there. I kid you not. So I did not walk over to the beer store. In fact, I didn't walk anywhere. I just kind of said, nah, I think today I'll just be a geek, you know. And clean my kitchen and do some cooking. Wow, is this still going? Yeah, that green light's flashing like crazy. I hope that 4096 means bytes. If numbers are unspecified, it's taken to be bytes. Okay, good enough. Oh, we're done. That's not exactly fast. Yee. Total time, 98.7. Yeah, that's 64 megabytes. Kinda. 67108.864. 5,536K exactly. But this is like, whew, terrible. Debian. Well, that's going to be our input file. So now we do it again. So I don't need a dash. Input file equals the Debian installer image. Output file equals. I'm not going to specify blocks or anything. I guess it could. Doesn't really matter, does it? Whatever. We'll just do a dash T, see what happens. And that should put the installation image onto that disk. Which, if I look at the green light flashing on it, most importantly, there's like the whole backplane, the SAS backplane is right over here. I can see it. I can see a green light flashing on that disk. So now I know what disk slot on the SAS backplane that disk is, because I'm going to have to pull that out. And these are all hot swappable SAS disks anyway, so it shouldn't be a problem. Hey, I got an idea. While that's going on, how about over here, we power on domain 0. Do you want to continue? Yes, I do. Now, listen closely. Off in the distance, there should be some screaming noises coming from a machine. Let's see what happens. Silence. Console -D0. Yes, I want to connect to the console. It's doing nothing. Excellent. You know what? I think I know what it is. There's a power on delay in this machine, because it was meant to be sitting in a rack in a data center. Yeah, this thing is supposed to be sitting in a data center. So there's a power on delay where it just sits there for like 5 minutes. I'm assuming waiting for power to be stabilized, temperature stabilization, who knows? Who knows? So I'll just sit here and eat. I made the mistake yesterday of making something, late last night. And without thinking about it, I tossed in a healthy shake of cayenne pepper. And then later, with even less thought, I put in some shakes of Tabasco. Because, hey, let's give it some snap. Yeah, it was snappy, all right. I can let you know. There was a moment or two where I thought to myself, I don't think this is edible anymore. But it didn't stop me. That's it. Now we just sit here and watch this do its thing. Any questions? Oh. There's something else. Big Indian PPC64, and this is Big Indian Power PC, 32-bit. I don't have PA risk at all. I mean, there's PA risk right there, but we know somebody who does have PA risk. And when's the last time anybody's seen a DEC Alpha? I haven't powered on or looked at a DEC Alpha 20 years. It's got to be 20 years. But PA risk, I guess maybe a couple of years ago, HP Superdomes, a whole line of them, because there was all this legacy software and services and stuff running on these Superdomes in a data center in Toronto. And stable software that runs on stable equipment tends not to move. You just leave it running until it's impossible to do service and maintenance support contracts on the hardware. It just gets more expensive to maintain year after year. And so the customers involved in the HP Superdome stuff, which was, I guess I can't really say on YouTube, big telecom company in Canada, they made the decision that they had to leap in some other direction. And it took them a year of migration and other stuff, but they got there, and then all these HP Superdomes, there's nothing to do with them. It's not like you could sell them to anybody. What are you going to do with it? It's similar to the situation with this kind of machine. If it can't run Linux or something useful, this may indeed be the last time this machine gets powered on. Because if I can't make this run, built-in self-healing mechanisms, rock-solid dependability, the latest 2.86 gigahertz SPARC 64 7 plus processor means excellent and long-term operation for a wide range, etc., etc. I gotta let you know. The latest 2.86 gigahertz SPARC 64 7 plus processor, that's 10 years ago. The day this machine shipped out on the planet Earth, it was already slow. And I've run some tests and stuff on this machine a number of times, and it's just painfully slow. I heard fans just spin up in the distance. I think I've heard. There we go. She's screaming from a distance. Excellent. Now I'm waiting to see if there's diagnostics or something on that domain. Oh yeah. Yeah. You heard from somebody that they had a SPARC T4 and they needed to do a firmware update. Like I said earlier, I could be knocking on the door at Oracle with a fistful of money in my hand, and they just tell you to go away. What kind of machine is it? SPARC? Hey Bob, what's a SPARC? I don't know. A what? Spark? No. Sorry. Like, nobody even has a clue. And once Fowler left, that was the end. And I think he left 5 years ago. Yeah, but Sparks is probably catching fire or something, right? Still haven't seen any signs of life out of this. This is really slow. I never thought it would be this slow. I wonder what's going on over here. Everything is impossibly slow. Could be a half hour of me just sitting here eating sludge out of a bowl. I'm calling it sludge. Well then, what was the other idea on the table? Oh yeah, the other idea on the table was a smaller, older Netra class SPARC machine. But you know what? I can plug that in. I have no idea what it's running. Oh, no, yeah, it's running. Yeah, it's. I better go take a look. There might be a flashing service light on it. Hold on. Nope. Solid green lights. No flashing yellow light, no maintenance indication, nothing. It seems perfectly happy doing nothing. Any minute now, I expect to see at least some diagnostics somewhere. Any minute now. Signs of life. What's going on over here? This SAS backplane is proper slow. This is going to be a process. Yeah, I decided to stream on YouTube because this way I could bore more people long term. You know? As a matter of fact, just a second here. What I'm going to do is get back to, there we go. Just a moment here. I'm going to try the process on the Fujitsu SPARC M3000 unit and even stream it live on YouTube just to have witnesses see how it all goes up in flames. One moment, please. What's the link? Does that link work? Yeah, no keyboard found. Right, yeah, that's a good one. Hit any key to continue. No keyboard found. But, you know, running without a keyboard is not a problem. Not a problem at all. You know, Adrian may come back and say, you know, don't post stuff like that into the mail list. I'm like, no, I'm doing a test. Bing. Bing. I'm going to delete some junk mail. Are we still waiting for a sign of life? Oh, finally! Oh! There you go. We're getting some signs of life now. We'll keep eating the baked haddock here. Mmm. think I went a little heavy on the salt on that chunk. I was going to say, how do I send a break? Because it's probably going to try to boot across the network. So the XFCF, I've got a little cheat sheet here. Reboot, reset, right there. I think reset-D0XIR. Oh, never mind. There, send a break. Send a break to hardware domain 0. Send break-D0. That'll be useful in a moment. Okay, let's go back to this, and one moment please. I need to get something out of the kitchen. Alrighty, nothing but green lights. And we got an OK prompt. This is great. Okay, just to clarify, this is just water. You may be familiar with the fact that on YouTube, there's endless piles of videos by endless YouTube streamers and whatnot. And the videos are post-processed, edited. There's no pause between sentences. Me, this is the diametric absolute opposite of that. I'll just be muttering and doing this as I do it, with no concern whatsoever to post-processing. Oh yeah, and the other thing is, sponsored by nobody. Sponsored by nobody. Nada, rien, zip, zilch, nobody. Although there is a link in the description that goes to a PayPal link, but that's, you know, for the occasional beer or something like that. That's it. That's my big sponsorship thing. There's a video, big popular video hitting YouTube, claiming that other big, huge streaming platform owned and run by Amazon, Twitch, apparently they did some kind of a policy change or something in the last 24 hours that's causing some screaming by, well, screaming by streamers who have piles and piles of sponsors and ads and sponsored by and all that stuff. You know, the big money streamers has no effect on just about everybody else on the planet Earth. Let me take a look at print ENV here. As you can tell, we're getting 9600 baud here. Ooh, network boot arguments. I remember this. Network boot arguments. We're not going to be doing that. There's the boot device path. Just a second here. So local MAC address is true. Rows and columns, I don't really care about it. Logo and banner, we don't really care about that either. Now, yeah, there's no diagnostics device. There is a boot device, but there's no disk in the machine right now. It's just sitting there with empty disk slots. Diagnostics level is set to maximum, and auto boot is false. Oh, the diag switch is also set to false. What I might do, it doesn't take that long. We can do a set ENV diagnostic switch, which used to be a real thing on Sun Hardware way back. I mean, late 80s into the very early 90s, there were some systems which were VME bus machines, and in this case I'm talking about the Sun 670 MP desk side machines. I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember these. I certainly am. The Sun 670 MP machine, multiprocessor, VME bus, and all that good stuff from way back. Yeah, there you go. Great big brick. This thing. There you go. That's it. That is a Sun SPARC 670 MP right there, and the MP is yellow. There's your Sun logo, air flowing through it. Looks to me like this thing's been abused and dropped and kicked a couple times. The panel doesn't line up on the side. And I had one of these in my life. Oh, 20 years ago I had one. And it had great big, massive, scuzzy block discs inside it. And I ran Solaris 2.5.1 on that thing. And in the back of this machine, if you can find pictures of it, somebody somewhere might even have a video, who knows, when it's running, the CPU activity on the VME bus boards was indicated with a red LED that would bounce up and down, like it was at eight LEDs, and you know, it would just turn them on in sequence, going up and down, up and down. It looked like, Kit the car in Knight Rider, or the old Battlestar Galactica Cylon, you know, is that kind of thing. A little red light going, you know, depending on activity level. And on these boards was a switch, and it was a switch called diagnostics. There was a diag switch, and it was an actual physical switch. So power the machine down, flip on diagnostics, hook up a terminal, like an actual terminal, you know what I mean? And away you go. Yeah, I am doing I'm doing a test. Okay, let me just do a reset all here. I'm still waiting for the world's slowest DD, and I do not know why it's dragging so incredibly slow. I mean, there's a green light flashing like mad. Throughput is terrible. Now, mind you, this machine over here is built with FreeBSD 14 100% debug. Debug switches enabled and other things. Oh, there we go. We're getting our diagnostics now. Off she goes. That's good to see. Let's just let it run. It should be doing diagnostics on, well, it's a single socket SPARC machine, multi-core, so it's most likely running diagnostics on one core, which then does diagnostics on another core, and then it switches over, switches around, back and forth, testing every single core. Yeah, I haven't used it in, I don't know when. I have not used this since, it's got to be a year. And there's an option that says latency. You know, latency is like, you could put in like a 10-second latency or 15. You can actually put in your own latency, but one of the options for latency was, it says low latency, and then underneath that was an option that says extremely low latency. You know, extremely low latency. And so I go, let's just click that. That's the option we want. Wow. Diagnostics sort of picked up and went away, didn't it? A little bit of hang time here. Fatal reset check. Well, okay, yeah, we're definitely going through the CPUs, and they all got the same serial number. That makes sense. It's a single, you know, yeah. So that's your board number. Look at this, 2011. And there is no way to get an update. There's no way to get an update for this machine. Firmware updates, nothing. Forget it. There's no way. Oh, that's right too. I set extreme maximum diagnostics. So this is good. It hasn't been powered on in 6 months. So it's going to rip the living daylights out of, yeah, all the floating point units, every single chunk of memory everywhere. It's ECC memory, 64 gig of it. And it's sad. You can't give this machine away. You just can't. You just close that. Go to back here. This machine, you couldn't give it away. I would need to attach a $100 bill to it and pay for the shipping to give it away to somebody, because it's impossible to use. In any case, I really don't know what's going on over here in FreeBSD. It's just incredible. I feel like asking it, did you just pack up and go away? I mean, it's not that big a file, right? Well, 288 megabytes, but still. 288 megabytes shouldn't take that long, but why am I getting only like 1 meg per second? If it's 1 meg per second, that's 288 seconds. We're well past that. Oh, there we go. So I should be able to say sifting post. Sifting post should give me show post results in here. No, doesn't show anything. Well, where's my status result at the end of this thing? Oh, there's open boot. Yeah, just says post sequence is complete. Has nothing to say other than CPU 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Excuse me? CPU 1 to 7. Maybe I can't count, but it does look to me like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right there, CPU number. Huh? Because over here, it says in the specifications, ding, 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 somewhere down here, way down here, technical details. Here it says quad core 2.86. That doesn't make any sense. Quad core. And I don't think that's correct either. I'm baffled. I will sit here and be baffled. Doesn't make any sense. But it says post sequence is happy, open boot. Oh goody, TFTP, good to see. Just on the outside chance we have to boot this thing over the network. Anyway, I think what I'll do is I'll reset the diagnostic switch. So set env diag-switch to false. There. We don't need to do diagnostics again. I think I could check for all SCSI devices. So that is probe SCSI all. We could try that. Now we should see nothing. But I am going to go pop in a disk into it. Let it just do its thing. Oh, no, that's the DVD. TIAC. This is the DVD right there. Which I haven't seen work since I don't know when. All right, I'm going to go pop a disk into it. To slot 0. Okay, green light is flashing. So I popped in a SAS disk into slot 0 on the front of the machine there. And let's just take a look. Give it 20 or 30 seconds to say hello to the disk. Yummy. Alrighty then. I really don't know what's going on over here. I think FreeBSD is just, I don't know. Is it moving packets at the speed of serial or something? There's nothing I can do to speed it up. I don't know what's going on over there. Alright, let's do this probe SCSI all again. There it is. So there it is. Unit 0 disk Hitachi Sun 146 gig, more than enough for what I want to do. So that disk right there is the installation target. And if I could ever get FreeBSD over here, and I don't think this has anything to do with Chili's SDD, but that is a different level of slow. I've never seen anything like it. Let me try Control /. It says it's written at 83K bytes per second. 165 meg at 83K per second. There is something seriously wrong. That is a 10,000 RPM SAS disk. And it's writing at some kind of a bizarre modem serial speed. Well, if we could just get that down to 56K, it's a modem. I've never seen anything like that. I have never seen anything like that. At this rate, 165 meg, and it's got 288 to go, I might as well just stop the stream right now and do a restart in 20 minutes. There's no sense in hitting Control C here unless I was to change the block size to say 64K. I do not understand what's going on here. I've never seen anything like it. That's abysmal. That looks like a failure of some sort. I'm open to suggestions. Now, how do I get IO stats into this thing? Oh, FreeBSD. It's a different world. And normally it just rocks. This has got to be something related to this. You know, the fact that I just built this 100% from source the other day. Do I have any kind of weird messages out of this thing? Okay, that's bizarre. A pile of messages about ARP, where an IP address is bouncing around between two different interfaces. That's ridiculous. I don't know what's going on there. .9 moving back and forth between two interfaces. That's baffling. Is there an IO stat in this thing? There is. Okay. So there should be an IO stat option. T-type. W weight. C count. Doesn't even show me DA3. I guess I have to like tell it what disk I want to look at. Okay, DA3. That's the only one I care about. Megabytes per second, 0.1. That's broken. That is nothing less than broken. I think I'll be happy to pull that disk off that backplane. And I don't think it's a disk problem. Maybe it is. I never even thought of that. I never even gave consideration to the fact that the disk itself may be a piece of garbage. Now, it wasn't a ZFS Z pool with no complaints. But then again, ZFS can be incredibly tolerant. I've never seen anything like this. Transactions per second. Is there a way to get more data out of IOStat? I don't care about CPU statistics, but I am interested in I guess I could throw in a -K. Wow. Huh. Well, I don't think that made a whole lot of difference, but then again, who knows? Megabytes per second, 0.1. That's broken. That has got to be broken. I am very curious about the kernel module involved in managing the SAS backplane. However, zpool list over here, give me a ZFS list, recursive SAS, USR OBJ is just there a second ago. Just created that, brand new. Huh. Well, golly gee whiz. I'm perfectly fine with about 60 meg per second. And that's not compressible. So if we do a read and a write back to those same set of devices, 0.14 seconds. That was reading from /dev random. This, on the other hand, I'm baffled. If anybody has any input on what's going on here, I am flabberbaffled by this. Let's try to do a cat-b here. Do I have to do a -b for binary? I don't think so. That's pretty quick. Yeah, I don't understand what's going on here. And that's all 100% random data. And I can actually hear the disks thrashing. And that's a three-way mirror, exact same SAS backplane, just 3 different disks. This over here is baffling. Absolutely baffling what's going on here. And I don't know what that -k did. Did nothing for me. No, there's nothing to do but sit here and wait. I've never seen anything like it. Modem speed. That means let's just do the math here. If there's 100 meg to do, that's 0.1 meg per second. That's 1,000 seconds. 1,000 seconds. What is that? 12 minutes? 13 minutes? I mean, 10 minutes is 600 seconds. Throw in another 300, so it's 15 minutes. Oh yeah, I might as well just sit here and eat baked haddock and ask questions into, the chat there. How are you guys? What's happening in your area? Would you like to talk about the Canadian weather? The Canadian weather is flames. Could be the disk was dead. Never even crossed my mind. Well, it's got a lot of hours on it, not that we care. And there's no uncorrected errors. There's no read errors, there's no write errors. Full test was done at 33,500 hours, and it has on it, it was made way back, 2011, 10,000 RPM disk. At 34,200 hours, it says. 34,200, and a full test was run at 33.5. That's not a dying disk. It's an old disk, but it is not dying. There's not a single error. It passes all of its tests. Whatever is going on here right now is not related to a bad disk. I've never seen anything like it. I am open to suggestions. You suppose, I mean, I've used this, Georg Schilling's SD, I've used it for years and years and years and years. Never seen anything like this. Meanwhile, this machine over here is just sitting around chewing up electricity, perfectly happy with itself. If anything, now that it's powered up, (25.5 degrees Celsius). I think there's a command called show fans. No. Show fan? No. I don't think so. Thought there was a man page for that. It could actually show you the speed at which it's moving air through it and stuff like that. In any case, reconnect back to the console. Thank you. Banner. There it is. And we're sitting here waiting for the world's slowest raw disk transfer I've ever seen. I mean, this was slow, 600K per second. But this is setting new standards in slow. 234 meg, 40 to go, 83K per second. I've never seen anything like it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is without a doubt modem speed. I think if you had two different dial-up plain old telephone lines and you bonded it together using, what was it called? SLIP, which nobody's used since the dawn of time. There's not even a manual entry for SLIP. Serial line interface protocol, something like that. SLIP. Was a way of bonding together multiple dial-up services, and I've used it. Well, who hasn't? I mean, if you go back far enough, I mean, basically dial-up is what you had. If you're lucky, you had dial-up, right? I mean, because this down here is doing smoke signals. What was the temperature of that disk? I mean, is it scorching hot or something? Does it even tell me? Currently at 38 degrees Celsius. Well, I mean, it's spinning. There's no fan or anything on it. Yeah, I'm baffled. Absolutely flabbergasted by this. And there's nothing I can do. Well, I knew this was going to be ridiculously boring. Let me just get this again, see if it reformats a little bit better for me. Yeah, what I really care about is right there, total uncorrected errors, 0. Errors corrected by ECC. But you see this kind of stuff all the time. Error correction algorithms on read, but not on write. I don't know what to make of it. It takes 2 hours to run that test. And I fired off that test 2 days apart. Right there. 33,440. And then about, 44, 48 hours later, two days later, I ran the same test again, and it came back perfectly fine. So I don't have any answers. I have no answers for what's going on here. Well, at least I got food to eat. I wasn't expecting the slow machine to be the FreeBSD box. I was expecting the SPARC machine to be a disaster. Well, yeah, well, it was hooked up. It was part of a Z pool, right? That disk was in a ZFS Z pool. The /usr/obj, that's the object directory, was in a file system on that one disk, because I only cared about thrashing in and out of that one disk. And that machine fully rebuilt all of FreeBSD sources. I mean everything. Build world, build kernel, the whole 9 yards. Thrashing in and out of that disk. No problem. No problems whatsoever. What we're looking at is something insane. There is something catastrophically wrong here. And all that FreeBSD build was done 3 days ago, 4 days ago, something like that. Well, since I got nothing better to do, I might as well update the SSH banner, right? Might as well get that done. So, FreeBSD, no. uname-apku gives me all that goodness. So we will edit the SSHD banner. Give me this. We'll just update this. Yeah. That's a good looking format. In fact, I'll just put that line in twice and then 14 current generic, that's all the same. That's not changing. The only thing that changes is this right here, which is this. Oh, and the date. Yeah. Okay, so the only thing that changes is this version, which has got the old kernel version stuff in there. And then there's Sunday, June 4th, this. Wow, that's interesting. Great. Complete with the silly warning that says, if you're using this machine, well, since we're sitting here, might as well just go, let me see, what is it? Let's see if Esther's working. Is that enough to get a copyright ban on YouTube? I wonder. Bizarre. Well, at least there's an eject here. I have to wonder what that does. Is there a delete, a remove? The device is larger than 2 terabyte. The SCSI read capacity, blah, 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 blah. Not interested. Start, stop. That could be useful. Huh. That may come in useful. See if we can do a stop, eject, and then I pull the thing out if it ever completes. Anytime. Oh, 275. Still at 80K per second. Yeah, I see that. With any luck at all, it's not going to be a problem with anybody. Nobody's going to give me a hard time with it. They'll just say, oh, yeah, you're testing this. Excellent. I mean, this machine is basically ready to go. All I need is the installation image, right? Now, is this network installation.is, is that going to be bootable? It should be. It's a SCSI device. The machine is not going to care if it's an HFS or what do you call it? High Sierra file system, HSFS. If it's an ISO 9660 type file system, then the SPARC machine is not going to care at all. Ugh. Hey there, yeah, I'm streaming, but I'm using YouTube at the moment, obviously. And we're waiting for the world's slowest transfer that's ever been seen. Certainly by me. I haven't seen anything this slow. I mean, Winchester 3030 discs, late 70s, early 80s were faster than this. Way faster. You're fighting with Ubuntu? Good to see. I was fighting with Gentoo earlier on SPARC. Gentoo on SPARC. And I was given a significant lashing. I mean, no one expected the Spanish Inquisition, but I was given a bit of a lashing by somebody trying to explain to me that there's basic environment variables. Gee, you think? I use these all the time. This is the, right there, it's POSIX specification stuff. I tend to set LC underscore time to just C. POSIX C. That's it. Everything else is English underscore USA dot UTF dash 8 for a UTF type character format or language. None of that's required because over here on this page, internationalization variables, on this particular page, I should have read into this a long time ago, setting LC all is a waste of time. But anyway, there's lang, and this variable shall determine the locale category for native language, customs, coded, blah, 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 blah. Everything in the absence of LC underscore all, and all under LC underscore foo, which is these ones, environment variables. So basically, just set this, and then if you want, you can also set LC underscore time, because that'll affect the output you get from things like strf time. And anybody that's done anything with trying to read, oh my god, it's finished. Trying to read, write, or handle time and date data in Unix and Linux is a painful experience. It's absolutely painful. It really is. Okay, it finally finished. And it took almost an hour to do. Look at that, 3,600 seconds would have been an hour. I mean, it should have just like taken a break somewhere in the middle, gone for a coffee, you know? All right, LC underscore all overrides them all, yes. But generally, You don't want LC_all generally. In fact, I just, on Gen 2, I said, okay, I'll just set lang, nothing else, and then my LC_time. In any case, I am now going to see if I can rip that disk out. So, cam control, dev list. I'm going to do it gently. I need this disk to work. So, what if I do a stop on DA3? That disk. Well, there's a flashing green light down there. Unit is stopped. Now I'm going to pull that disk out. One moment, please. I'm going to pull the disk. Just a second. Alrighty. I have in my hands the disk. And now there's a new problem. This disk, which says right on it, there's a Sun Oracle logo right there. Sun Oracle logo. But what's missing? It's not in a bracket. I don't have a bracket for the SAS backplane, the M3000. Luckily, I was prepared for that. And I've got a disk in the bracket ready to go. And all I need is a Phillips screwdriver. One moment, please. Phillips screwdriver. There we go. And a little bit of light would be a good idea. And for anybody who really cares to see, let me just put my thermonuclear sludge over here and get this disk and just 1, 2, 4. Pretty. Phillips. This one here should do, I think. That'll do. I think these are supposed to be Torex. Whatever. I don't really care. I hope this works. Otherwise, it's been a really annoying process. Only for a machine to tell me, I don't know how to boot that. Sorry. I'd love to be able to boot that, but I can't. I'll take all 4 of these and hope none of them go bouncing down to the floor. Come on. Come on. You can do it. There you go. Gravity. Okay. This disk is a Sun 72 gig disk. That's all it is. Put that in place. Check it for dust. No. There's no little fuzzy dust. There's nothing special about this disk. I don't understand it. I do not understand why it took modem speed to get that done. Now, if I can just figure out gravity, I should be able to, there's YouTube videos where people have microscopes and fancy cameras and all kinds of stuff like that. I have a coffee cup, or in this case, not even that, just a glass of water. Fancy water too. It's not carbonated, it's not filtered, it's just tap water. Because at least in my area of Canada, you drink tap water, you're getting a healthy supply of minerals, I'll tell you that. The water is so hard you can practically walk across it. You boil some water and make a cup of coffee, but once a week you got to take some vinegar and clean that thing out. Okay, I'm gonna go put this in the machine. Brace yourself. This is where it gets interesting. And I gotta get my big head out of the way. There's my big head. There. Okay. All right. Let's hope for the best here. Actually, this disc can go aside. Let's hope for the best. I'm gonna go pop it in the machine. Please work. All right, flashing green lights. I love seeing those flashing green lights. You know what they indicate to me? They indicate that the little LEDs on the disc bracket work. That's about all it tells me. Okay. Finally, after an hour, we get to the point where we can try the new images. Okay. Probe, SCSI all. There we go. Target 3, right there. So let's get the device path, dev alias. That's not good enough, because really I should have a device path. Oh no, CD-ROM. Oh, CD-ROM is target 4, correct. Okay, so it thinks it's, okay, that's diskette 4, that's CD-ROM. But the only disk that seems to be appearing here is this. I'm going to do a reset. Should be quick. This will reset the backplane, reset the machine, reset everything. Takes about 90 seconds, I hope. It's all the little things that can go wrong. Come on, baby, you can do it. Right. Okay, full post. I'm okay with that. In addition to testing the Debian installation image on SPARC 64, I'm getting fed. Oh, baked haddock. Wonderful stuff. Baked haddock. Baked with nothing but just butter. And once it's all over and done with, you end up with a slab of haddock in clarified butter. Yummy. There's a YouTube streamer, I guess you could call him a streamer, YouTuber, named Chef Pierre. I should really just, point out to people that he's awesome. If I could figure out a link or whatever to his channel, he's just Chef Jean-Pierre. The guy's awesome. Has lots of good stuff to say about butter. Use it. Cook with it. Absolutely. Clarified butter, even better. Well, baked haddock. Wonderful stuff. Come on, baby. 64 gig of memory. Count every single bit and byte. Any minute now. It's always a painful process. Now, what's even worse is if I decide to test one of the other Netra servers. If I decide to test one of the other Netra machines, one of them's already running Gen 2. Gen 2 Linux, it's fully up to date and everything. I would be able to get this installation image a lot faster onto a SCSI disk and then boot to that SCSI disk just to see what would happen. And that's worth testing depending on what happens here. And I'm fully, like, I'm willing to take bets at this point that this is just going to fail, utterly fail. You know, the machine, the firmware or something will go, this is not Solaris 10. I don't know how to boot this. Anything past Solaris 11.3, forget it. Machine just sits there like a dead brick. Brick. Chef Jean-Pierre, that's it. Yeah, he's fantastic. Okay, open boot. And we're done. We're good. Give me dev alias, please. And it only shows me one disk. That's interesting. However, so I'm going to need to figure out the path to that thing. Should be just disk@3. You know, disk@3. I probably don't even need to specify :A, but I'll give it a shot anyway. It's an ISO 9660 though, right? There it is. Target 3, 300 gig. Isn't it funny? The disk I want to install to is 146 gig. This is my whatever. So there it is. Target 3. So let's take a guess. Let's see what happens if I try this. 3, 0, A. Go. Ta-da! Grub. There it is. That's, we got, something's working. Oh my God! It only took an hour to get an installation image that I could do anything with. All right, it's hilarious. Now, Glaubitz, Jean-Paul Adrien Glaubitz has always said to me, don't do the expert install. I always do the expert install first. Give it a try. If it all goes sideways, then I can go back and do default install. But default install does not allow you to set an IP address, nor can you do an SSH into it to bring up the installation remotely, which I like to do, because otherwise we're at 9600 baud. Oh, never mind. Trap. Error. Last trap, division by 0. Boom! And we got exactly nowhere. And my understanding is I have to reset the machine to get past this. Or we can try to do the boot again. Let me see if I'm just curious. Yeah, it's going to do a full reset anyway. It's got to reset the machine. But looking at this, that's not pretty. That indicates to me something really bad has happened. Really bad. So, there's a link right there. Oh, yeah, that's lovely. So, this may be classic Fujitsu SPARC 64 M3000 type behavior. You can't do anything with this machine. It's just a useless, expensive brick. I wonder, wow, That's officially ugly. That's officially ugly. It could be the machine's just a brick, you know? And the only option I have at this point is to shut it down, unplug it, pull the discs out, and it's got to be taken off to the recycling center, because, you know, you can't give it away. You can't. I wonder if there was ever a Linux, like ever a Linux, that could run on this thing. That's just sad. Okay. Let's get away from that machine. Let me see if I can ping Sphinx. Sphinx is not even powered up, but I think I'm going to have to power it up next. It's the next place I have to go to. And this is what it's like. Doing anything with SPARC equipment is just painful. Painful. Once upon a time, beautiful machines. You know, 10 years ago. What are you doing? Oh, rebooting, and it's booting into disk 3 again, because I asked it to do that. And now it's just hanging. No? Okay. Stop. Out of curiosity, if I hit E for edit, oh, it doesn't tell me anything. There's nothing for me to see there. Nothing. And what happens if I try rescue mode? What does that do? Let me just hit E for edit. Doesn't say much of anything. Okay. For the sake of watching it panic again, default install, because that's what I'm told, you know, to check. Un, deux, trois. Bring on the pain. Panic. Yeah. This looks identical, in fact. Absolutely looks identical. So it really doesn't matter. Same data, identical. Yeah, not supported. There's just, and the Debian wiki thread from way back on, that's at Oracle. 2017 says forget it. Oracle's reference Linux distribution. I tried a. Tried Debian 7, and at least he sees some boot CD. At least he sees something. CPU red state reset has occurred. That's not good. Then the whole machine goes into reset, and this is silo, not grub. Sad. The machine, Gen 2, the only operating system besides Solaris I found this in the boot up mark is OpenBSD. NetBSD is worth a try. I mean, I'm game to try NetBSD. I do have NetBSD running on a SPARC machine. I do. But would it run on this machine? Because this machine is just a brick. No. I said NetBSD. Don't even get me started. I've already been through some NetBSD stuff. I've got enough familiarity with it. Oh, this is just painful. Okay. Alrighty then. There's nothing I can do with this machine, right? Nothing. Other than maybe pull that disk out, right? Just do OpenBSD. Well, but I already have NetBSD running on SPARC. And I'm trying to test this new installation image, at least on something, which is SPARC. Something. All right, let's just stay on topic here. I think what I'm going to do is power the machine off. That's it. Just power it off. It's just really disheartening. Really disheartening. The guy who posted on the mailing list was wrong? Really? All Fujitsu SPARC 64 processors are unsupported by the kernel toolchain. Get a recent distribution. Well, I've got the absolute most recent stuff. Gen 2 for SPARC is dead. That's not true. I have Gen 2 running on SPARC. Just a moment here. Just bear with me. I'm going to go off in the corner, cry, curse, swear, power up the machine. One moment, please. what a miserable experience, right? This is the way things go with some SPARC equipment. You could run Solaris 10 on it, but why would you want to? Anyway, I just plugged in 2 different Netra servers into the UPS battery backup power. They're booting and doing post right now. Well, I don't know what they're doing. One moment, please. Bear with me. Technical service monkeys have been dispatched. Others are quietly crying in a corner. Typical. Yeah. Yeah. No. Besides, Open Indiana doesn't run on anything else except for x86. Doesn't run on SPARC at all. Period. What a sad experience. Completely and utterly sad experience. I have no idea what those machines are doing. So what I'm gonna have to do is hook up serial console. Yeah. Serial. That means I go to Callisto, go FreeBSD. Alrighty. Intermediate. And that's because I never ever put myself in the wheel group. Never. As a user, nah. I have to move around this machine. Let me just check serial cables. Yeah, should be okay. Should be okay. Shut that down. Oh, man. Oh, I guess I better, No, there's other people running SPARC equipment, but not this hardware. I don't know if anybody has this hardware running. Okay. Sadly, the Fujitsu M3000 SPARC 64 VII Plus does bad things after VC grub. Let me just copy and paste that in. I'll pass this along. Garbage. Just garbage. Garbage. All right, so that means somewhere on the mail list, it'll show up in a second, the status. All right, give me a second, I'm gonna physically move a machine without tripping over cables. In addition to streaming with SPARC, I can do gymnastics. Okay, let's try something else. The latest release notes from Open Indiana, only Ultra SPARC Sun for use in emergency systems are supported. So there is an Open Indiana. I didn't know there was Open. I have a passing familiarity with the Open Solaris project. You know, a passing familiarity. You know, I've seen it briefly. Sad but true. And for anybody that doesn't know, I was on the Open Solaris governance board in the Open Solaris project, and part of the original internal beta project long before it was ever public. And extensive phone calls and conversations about that miserable license. And I want to make it perfectly clear such that nobody is confused. Denise Cooper is completely innocent in that regard. Too many people dragged her name around and saying, well, you know, this is how we ended up with the CDDL or Tuttle license, which is incompatible with the GPL. It is not her fault at all. There were teams of lawyers involved internally in that disaster. If anything, she was the sacrificial goat that was taken out publicly and allowed to take the bullets when she was completely innocent. And I want to make sure that that's, you know, understood. I have a really crazy passphrase. Okay. I think if I check this, I seem to recall /dev/cu, just a second here. Okay, so we're going to do a CU, speed is 9600 baud, into line is this thing here. Let's see what we get. And there it is, NetBSD, on SPARC even. I wonder if I know the root password. Let's see. Ah, we have a winner. There it is. So that's NetBSD on SPARC. It's not much of a SPARC, but it is a SPARC. I'm not too sure how to get more information about the processor type and stuff like that. With any luck at all, it actually knows what the date is. It does. And I think maybe NetBSD does. Now we can get away with PS-EF. Just curious about the NTP really. No, just a second. We'll try that instead. So let's see. Yeah, there's NTP there. So looking at etcntp.conf, I think I got, no, not CD, sorry, cat. This is over serial, by the way, 9600 baud serial. So I think in the stats directory, yeah, okay. So it's doing its thing. Okay. Now this is NetBSD on SPARC, you know, not Linux. Now what I want to do, and what's the IP address of this thing anyway? So it's .20. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. What I'm going to do is disconnect from this machine, the serial that is, switch over to another SPARC machine which is running Linux, but it's running Gentoo Linux, which means I should be able to create an installation disk One moment, please. Let me just get. Actually, hold on a second. Single disk machine. Does that work? No. I haven't used this since I don't know when. I don't think I can do syscontrol. Maybe I can. Don't know. Don't care. Leave this machine alone. I'm going to drop the connection, switch over to another machine. Okay, this should be endless joy and fun. Endless joy and fun. Connect. Anybody home? Hello? Huh. This is an old Ultra SPARC 2i machine. Okay. Alias. Alright, this machine, its battery is fried. So there's a couple little things that have to be done because it's very confused. Not the least of which is it thinks it's power cycled, I don't know, a bazillion times. So we might as well get this out of the way. There, power cycles is now 0. Let's go to yeah, 9600, 891, that's fine. Diag level. I'm okay with that. I don't care about serial numbers. Input output T2IA is fine. This is a disaster. Auto boot has to be false. Do not automatically boot. Don't even try. Let's see. Diag device. Another disaster. I should be able to say none. Boot device we don't care about. Local MAC address is definitely something we want to set, but it doesn't work anyway. I want every physical network port, and it has 3. Strange number, I know. They have their own physical MAC address. And I'm okay with this. Let's do a reset. And away she goes. Oh. Anybody else having fun? Because this is just a joy. And I think if we go here, generally my stuff shows up right away. It doesn't get, my stuff doesn't get filtered. We'll see about that. Yeah, okay. That was a SPARC T5. Okay, good to know. And okay, that's fine. No, it hasn't showed up yet. Huh. Go figure. Alright, what do we got for dev alias here? Blah, 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 blah. Looks good. Boot. This disk. Right here. Give me that disk, that slice. Go. Grub. Oh, out of memory. Don't believe that even for a second. So, Gen 2 Linux. You'll notice, not Debian. Alrighty then. Pretty sure it's already set to verbose. IPv6 disable. Looks good to me. And go. Go ahead. Bring up Gen 2 Linux. Now, on this machine, I should be able to fetch the installer image. Oh, we're going to have a problem. There's going to be a problem because the battery is shot. And one of these days, if I ever get the motivation to replace the battery, it'll come up and think that it's 1st of January, 1970. You watch. 1st of January, 1970 is what it sees. So uptime can be a little confusing. Yeah, uptime. Decades. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, just a second. Yeah. Clock skew detected, you think? Just a little. We're getting there. One moment, please. Warning, clock skew detected. I would think so. Yes. Rebinding lease. Well, why are you doing DHCP anyway? I don't want you doing DHCP. I don't really care. I just don't want you doing DHCP. I don't know why. Root. Okay. Beauty. Sure enough, January the 1st, 1970. Okay. So let's just set the date manually. Blah, 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 blah. Echo time zone, GMT 0, so I'll do date, dash oo baby. And we will set it to the format of month, date, hour, blah, 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 blah. This. So, month, date, hour, minute. We are in 06. Where are we? 07. Okay, month, day, hour, 06. 19. I can get away with that. 2023 dot 45. And 2, 3, 4 now. Okay. With any luck at all, that's relatively correct. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, done. 0, 6, 9, I'm plus or minus by a second, but I think NTP should be kicking in at this point. I think. NTP. No. There's no NTP running. That's interesting. I thought for sure I had NTP in this machine. Yeah. That's interesting. Could be the clock skew was so completely messed up that, you know. Anyway, IP address show is currently doing .17, but yeah, dynamic. I wonder why. That's annoying. There's nothing more I can do with this machine. Oh, hold on a sec. I'm going to want to do something with that SAS disk, but I don't want to do it at this speed. The only thing I could possibly try is NetBSD on that hardware, but that hardware is currently powered off. So therefore, what I'm going to do is say goodbye to Hydra, which is a FreeBSD machine. This machine here is, what size is this terminal anyway? 92 by 24? Yeah, whatever. So, SPH Linux. I don't even know what the IP address is supposed to be. .16, go figure. All right, well, that's easy enough to fix. So IP address add, how about that? I don't care if it's running two addresses. It's fine with me, /26 dev ETH0. Thank you. Ping Sphinx. Hello. So I've got a script here. Should allow me to log in as me. Yeah, there you go. All right. Fine. I think there's two disks in there too. SD, whatever. Yeah, SDA and SDB. It's currently booted from SDA. Yes. So SDA 4 right there. I know we got swap. I thought we had swap. I don't know. What's in the FS tab here? I should be able to do an LS block, right? LS block or block ID? LS BLK. Okay, so SDA2, swap, lots of it. Block ID comes back with lots of stuff. And I'm looking for something that ends with 8815. Bing, 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 bing. Where are you? Right there. Swap. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that machine is Gen 2 Linux, which runs just fine there. Slowly, but it runs. So what I can do, I would have to pull this disk out, SDA, SDB. What partition we got there? I think this is actually a GPT. It is. It's GPT. Partition table type is GPT. And the only reason why it's GPT is because I was messing around with looking at GPT partition types on different machines. And I said, well, I wanted to take a look at it on a big engine machine, see if it makes any difference. It doesn't. So, but what's important is this machine cannot recognize or boot anything else but a Sun label. The only label it recognizes is a Sun label from the firmware. So, what to do? Well, I don't need to be... I could do it all from the console. Why not? Show me the rule. right? Do it all from the console. Over there. So we've got SPARC 64. And what we'll do is we'll just do curl -l-url bang. One more time with enthusiasm. Once more under the breach, dear friends. Except this time I'm going to burn that, well, not burn, I'm going to dump that installer image into the second disk, SDB, whatever SDB is. It's SCSI ID 1. You know, SCSI ID 0, SCSI ID 1. I mean, it's a small little metric machine. It's only got 2 disk slots on it. But I do have external SCSI array hardware. Does that serve any purpose, though, at this time? I don't think so. Nah, no. What I'll do is pull the Gen 2 disk out. That's what I'll do. And then try the Debian installer, which should work because I had no problems before with Debian on this machine. But at least I get to try this installer. So once more with enthusiasm, except this time I'm a little bit curious about I/O speed and such. SDB, that disk right there. All right, let's wreak havoc with that disk. And again, I'm going to do OPT, right? I'm going to use this again, regardless of what happened last time on FreeBSD. I still don't know what happened there on the SAS backlink. I can't make any sense out of it. Okay, /SDB, do this. Block size equals 4096. Give me a count. 384, exact same. Identical. Go. So this should be right. Well, that's done. I'm okay with 22 megabytes per second. That's perfectly fine. I can live with that. That was easy, right? Okay, so now input file equals the Debian installer. Send it out there. I'll even do the same block size. Shouldn't matter. So 288 meg of data. I hear a fan spinning up and spinning down. I don't know if anybody else does. There's a fan spinning up and down someplace. Okay, 22 meg per second. That's it. So that's the installer. Done. So what I can do, I need to do a shutdown, but only to the firmware. This way the clock in the hardware should still be set. Right? Is anybody with me on this? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Because if I check the shutdown command, there's an option to -P. Yep, 9600 baud serial. We do not want to turn off the power. We want to do this. Halt action is to halt or drop into the boot monitor of systems that support it. -H, right there. Modifier to the lowercase h flag. So in theory, I should be able to do this. Now. And we should get an OK prompt. Deactivating swap. Yeah. Setting the hardware clock using the system clock. Good idea. And there we go. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to go pull that disk out and put in another disk. really hope I just pulled the right disk out. I'm not really too sure, to be completely honest. Okay, one more time with enthusiasm. So let's see if we can boot this disk right there. Oh, yeah, it's going to do a full reset. That makes sense. And once again, at great risk of sounding like a grubby human being, there is a link or data in the description on the stream that says where IRC is, which I'm not even looking at. There we go. Sorry, Q. Yes. Your other message with the error just showed up in the archive. Thanks, man. Yeah, I have NTP on the Gen 2 box, absolutely. Okay, so is this the right... I don't know what this is. I'm not too sure. I hope I got the right disk. I'm going directly to expert install, like instantaneously. Why not? Give it a try first. If it blows up, well, we try it again, right? And yeah, this machine has a dead battery, you know, which happens, right? Which happens. I don't know what to do with the Fujitsu machine other than try NetBSD on it. But to try NetBSD on that hardware is not on topic for tonight. Sounds like a tomorrow problem, and also sounds like I'm going to be needing some beer. Oh, okay, we're making progress here, slowly. Yeah, that looks good. It says it's June the 7th. The time is correct. 0634 UTC is correct. And bingo. There you have it. Now, we can execute a shell. Before we do anything, let's just go down here, slowly, carefully, at 9600 baud. Give us a shell. Yep, I'm okay with that. Proc version. Linux version 6.1. That can't be right. Linux version 6.1. But Glaubitz said that he had done 6.3. Why am I looking at 6.1? Is it only the installer? Am I on the right machine? No, I mean, not the right machine. Am I on the correct disk? Or did I swap around the wrong disk? We got two disks. What disk are we using right now? We're not using a disk, it's all in memory. Can I use parted? P-A-R-T, parted, /dev/SDB. I may be on the wrong disk. There's no parted. No. Okay. There's a lot of stuff missing. This looks wrong. Linux version 6109. That can't be right. Oh, 2023-0508. May 8th. I am confusified. Let me just think. On this older SPARC Nectar server, which disk slot is actually SCSI ID 0? I'm going to halt this right now. Halt. Do a reset. I'm just going to halt it. Just drop it, right? There's no sense. Just reset, flush memory. I want to try something. We know whatever that was worked. And I really should be using, yeah. Okay. Piles of memory. 1,024 megabytes. Field power. Probe. SCSI. All. A 9 gig disk and a 72 gig disk. 9 gig and 72 gig. Am I at totally the wrong hardware? That's a 72 gig disk. I'm going to need a disk which is larger than 9 gig anyway. I mean, I'm not going to be able to get away with, well, I could just, installation, you can just see if you can get something in there. But 9 gig's not going to fly. I think 9 gig is what I typically use for, doing like a test install or something. But I got a whole pile of disks over here in a SCSI array. I'm going to go pull that 9 gig disk out. Because I think it's useless. Yeah, this is useless. This is my installation target. That's a dead giveaway. That's the 72 gig disk. Let me go grab. Let me see. Let's go shopping. What do we got here? Come on. Come on in. Oh, what do we got? That'll do. 72 gig, 15,000 RPM. Seagate. Cheetah. Look at that. Complete with a Sun logo on it. That right there, that's an expensive disc. From back in the day. I know you can't see the print on it, but all you need to know is it's a proper Sun. There you go. It's a proper Sun 15K RPM frickin' expensive disc is what it is. So I'm going to go pop that into the machine because the 9 gig disc is useless to me. Useless. I think this had previous years. Now, in order to save myself from, oh yeah, SCSI, definitely Sun, SCSI, It was an expensive disk at one point in history. I just need to label this thing because this disk I don't want to wreck. This one's got Gen 2 on it. And for anybody that knows anything about Gen 2, it's a real process. So Gen 2 for SPARC. Okay. Spinks. Okay, let me just set this disk aside, and while I'm at it, redo this. Probe SCSI all. Should be a whole different disk in slot 0 now. There you go. So 72 gig. The only difference between those two disks is firmware version. They're both Sun disks, pretty much identical. So dev alias boot this disk right here. So this disk A, and that should be that's the installer that we're supposed to be testing right now. Uh-oh. I got no response from the arrow keys. I'll be using the caret and the V key initially. Let me put this aside. This is my Gen 2 disk. Alrighty. And that was definitely, they're both Sun Microsystems disks. And come on, baby, don't just hang there. What's going on here? That's not grub. Or that, oh, there we go. Okay, the clock is still correct. Whew. At least something's working. Okay. Moving on. And maybe, oh, arrow keys are working. Just for giggles, I just want to check. Being very, very, very careful. Yes, we're going to operate out of memory. We have piles of memory. Proc version still says 2023. Okay. The 8th. Proc CPU info. There it is, UltraSpark 2i. Which is kind of like a baby UltraSpark, you know, but whatever. Actually, let's get back to the installer. So near as I can tell, the installer isn't doing a panic and explosion and flames are coming out of the machine. Good language as any. Okay. What happens if I hit the letter C? That worked. North America. Canada, eh? Yeah, Canada. Right there. Saint-Pierre et Miquelon. Si vous parlez en français aussi. In North America, for those of you who aren't up to date on your geography, within the international border limit, right north of Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, ever so slightly south of Newfoundland, is Saint-Pierre et Miquelon, which is French territory. It's France. People have been there for a while. Let's just go grab basic English, nothing fancy. Don't get fancy. Okay. 9600 baud. English, USA. Yeehaw! This is going to take a long time. For those of you that are watching this, this is going to take a really long time. So, configure the keyboard. It's not doing everything over 9600 baud, but we won't be. Yeah. Mark on English. Okay, detect and mount installation media. Please do, because I'm going to have to put in some components for networking stuff, and I will allow it to do DHCP. Now we'll give it a specific IP address. In fact, this is going to need a name. And the moons of Pluto, Charon, Kerberos, Nix. Nix. It's nice and short, isn't it? Nix. N-I-X. Nix. Why not? Sounds good to me. There it is. 2023-06-06. SID, unofficial. SPARC64. Look at that. Look at the date there. That's what we want to see. Thing of beauty. Now we bring in some installer components and hope we have a network port. Choose a mirror. We're going to need that. I'm going to hit page down, hope for the best. In fact, let's just go right to the bottom of this list. Pretty sure at the bottom of this list we're going to need... No, I don't need that. We don't need USB at all, actually. Don't need UFS. UDF modules. I don't see where that serves any purpose. Rescue mode. Good to have. Riser FS? No. No. PPP? No. Don't need it. Part dead? Yes. We will need that. OpenSSH client? We will need that. Network console? We will need that. Continue installation remotely using SSH. Thing of beauty. Thing of beauty. Multipath, don't need any of that. MD, logic, nah. Yes, low mem, free memory for low mem install. Because I'm going to make the assumption that 1 gig of memory is low mem, you know. And I don't think, no, I don't use fdisk, manually partition. We'll do that too, just in case. Frame buffer, forget it. There's no graphics here. There's no graphics. I think we're done. Yeah, that'll do fine. Continue. So where's Matthew? Because I am... Yeah, 1 gig is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's an absolutely obscene amount of memory. 1 gig. That's like 1,048,576 kilobytes. Like, you gotta multiply that by 1,024. It's ridiculously huge. It's way more than 640K. Yeah, actually, that's a question. What is the lowest amount of memory? What is the absolute lowest number, the smallest amount of memory to do an installation? That's a worthwhile, silly test right there. Now, to do that, the problem is I'd have to crack open a SPARC machine and figure out a way to leave it with, say, 128 meg of memory. Like 128 meg of memory, I just, you know, I don't see it working. Like, but 128 meg of memory, you never know, right? I know that on Esther was running Linux at one point with 256 meg of memory. And I'm not going to say it was running. Esther was walking. And I don't have a link to the picture or whatever of what ester is, but there's a link someplace somewhere that somebody knows about of what is ester. Ester is a via Eden ester processor on a tiny little jetway board, which should really only be ever used for prototyping. But at the time it was sold, 2007, 2008, 2010, something like that. You could run Windows on it. I'm not saying you should, but anyway. Detect network hardware. This is where the rubber meets the road. Let's see what we have for network ports. Come on, baby, you can do it. And I've never been particularly good at switching around the... I think this is running inside GNU screen. So in theory, like Control A and then picking a number would switch me over to the log or something like that. But let's see what we got here for configure the network. And I think I might go with a specific IP address, not DHCP. That's why doing it in expert mode allows you to get away with that. Okay, Happy Meal. We have two of them. Oracle. No, Sun. That is the Sun Happy Meal, HME. What's interesting is this machine has 3 network ports, but it's only detecting 2. When really there's 3, because there's an entire SCSI Ethernet board on the PCI slot in this machine. I think. Yeah. Doesn't seem to work at all, whatever that is. So I'm going to go with this, hope for the best. We're not going to do DHCP. No, 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 no. 9999. 9Z Sprechen Sie Dynamic, any of that stuff. Okay, now, this is where I need, and I've used this IP address before, or I've used this name before, so it's in the host table that other machines know. Okay, it's going to be .61. I was just checking the numlock key. Got to remember, this is over serial, so it should just work. 172.16.35.61/26, the subnet. And sure, as good a gateway as any. And I'm going to use for DNS, not that. I'm going to use one of the big Canadian public DNS servers, not Google. Not Google. Okay, .61. So that being the case, just a second here. Bring this over here. Shrink this down a little bit. Doesn't need to be quite that large. Is the stream coming through nice and clear on through YouTube? I'm hoping it's coming through really nice and clear. Okay, beautiful, and low latency. Nice and clear and low. Look at that, and the IP it came right up. Came right up. Thank you. Excellent. Getting good feedback. I'm getting good reports. People are telling me it works. Machines can simply call Nix, and there's even a domain name. Not much of a website, but it does exist. Gen Unix, which by the way stands for generic Unix, which was the name of the kernel in Solaris at Sun Microsystems. Okay, that's it. Now we're going to do the SSH thing. Well, I'm hoping it's better than that other service because that other service banned me. I'm a terrible human being. Banned. A bad person. Okay. So over here, I need a password. I pretty much use the same one for installation all the time. Something really simple, like password, you know. And that's it. That's it. So, that's SSH. So I'm going to shrink this down, put it over here. I'm not interested in anything more but that. Now I want to do SSH, there's 2-4. Yeah, the -2 is like not even needed anymore. Installer is the username to Nix. Go. It may complain about keys because keys may have changed or something like that. Nope, it's happy. We're happy. Permission denied. Oh, I know what the problem is. I got an SSH config that demands, it absolutely demands that I use keys, which we'll get to. For right now, I'm just going to like slide that file aside. So, you know, we're not going to need keys right now. Password. And bada bing. And there's the installer. Now we can do it over the network with blazing speed, incredible throughput. We don't have to configure the network because it's obviously working. Choose a mirror. Well, the mirror is always going to be the same because this is ports, you know, just HTTP. Enter information manually. It'll all be filled out for me. I don't have to worry about it. That's it. Net ports, done. Just accept that stuff and move on. Yeah, that seems to be working. Users. Allow login as root? Yeah. Root password. Oh boy. Just to get up and running. Normal account. Full name. The admin dude. The dude abides. ADM sys. Username. And a password. As simple as possible, but no simpler. That was easy. Free memory. Good idea. Done. Configure the clock. Good idea. NTP? Absolutely. But I'm not going to be using any of the pool stuff. I'm going to use a big Stratum 1 clock, ntp.torx.ca, from like a main internet exchange here in central Canada in Toronto. Torx. Big, the IX. And we're going with UTC, detect disks, please. Should be 2 of them. They're both 72 gig. It'd be a really good idea if we pick the correct one to blow away and destroy. Okay, partition the disks. Now, they have to be a Sun label. If the machine does not have a Sun label, the disk, if the bootable disk does not have a Sun label, forget it. Firmware won't have a clue how to deal with it. So this is going fine. This is moving along at exactly what I expect. So, how long has this stream been going? 2 hours of this? I have no idea. I can't tell. Analytics. Whatever. I have no idea. Okay, guided. Use the entire disk or manual. Well, we'll just use the entire disk. I don't know. It's not EFI. There's no sense in even thinking about EFI. Forget it. Okay, there it is. So this disk right here, we're going to wreck it and do the same thing again. So 4 gig ext2 file system, because you don't need a journal or anything. It's just going to be where the kernel goes. In fact, it'd be nice to get this machine to compile its own kernel. That'll take a week. Also, these are really excellent heaters, these machines. In Canada, doing this in June is a dumb idea. Just dumb. Anyway, create a new empty partition. Yes. Sun is the only label we can use. Don't even bother trying anything else. Write the new empty partition table? Yeah, absolutely. Do it. Wreak havoc. The disk has a lot of cylinders, which is greater than the maximum. That's an interesting warning. I've seen that warning now for a decade. Never seems to mean anything, but it's an interesting warning. 35.6 degrees Celsius. Yeah. It's not quite that warm here. But. Okay, let's start creating file system. So new partition, and again, I'll make it 4 gig in size right at the beginning. It'll be an ext2, and it'll be /boot. ext2, not ext4, ext2 right there. Don't need a journal, don't need anything fancy. And the mount point is going to be boot /boot right there. I might even create a USR local, which is separate. Sure, label it. Boot. Not that it makes any difference. Bootable flag, this is ridiculous. We can make it bootable, it won't make any difference. Okay, is there anything else we care about here? No, done setting up the partition. Never done. Now, one thing you absolutely have to have is a bucket of swap. Debian, typically not so bad. On this machine, I can do swap actually in the other disk slot. So what I can do is not bother with swap here, because it'll run with 2 disks, and I'll use a secondary disk as swap perhaps instead of using up space here. Keep it simple. Whatever. Create a new partition. Whatever. Swap. 8 gigabit. It's too much. But this machine will swap. Push it. Try to bootstrap GCC with it or whatever. It'll swap. It'll definitely swap. I just think maybe that's too much. My gut feeling is saying, that is too much swap. And our good man John Paul Adrian Glaubitz is telling me the SPARC 64 CPUs were ever officially supported in Linux kernel. Were they? I don't know. Probably not ever going to happen in the future either. Yeah, it's a sad circumstance. It is a sad circumstance. Yeah. I think maybe that machine is just a brick. It might run NetBSD, maybe. Who knows? Another excellent heater for the winter. That swap partition is a little too big. I'm going to delete that. I'm just going to make it a 4 gig. 4 gig swap is plenty. You start using more than 4 gig of swap, you got much bigger problems anyway, right? So, 4 gig. That's all you need for swap. That's like loads, tons. The 4 gig for /boot is ridiculous. Ridiculous. I'm going to do the label first, because the label disappears after you say it's going to be swap. So, I'm going to label it first, then call it swap. Maybe the label stays around, I'm not really sure, but done setting up the partition. That's it. 4 gig of swap is plenty. Plenty. And the rest of it, just take it all. This will be ext4 file system journal. Yeah. We'll give it a label. Sure. Break. Done. Done setting up the partition. Okay. Alrighty. That's it. Finish partition. I changed to disks. Disk. Right? I notice it says iSCSI, and I've never tried iSCSI from out of Debian during the installation, which would be really cool, because I do have an iSCSI server. The thing is, the iSCSI, never mind, no, it's an iSCSI server, but the iSCSI is over 10 gigabit. And 10 gigabit, no, that's, I've got a Linux machine, which is a multi-socket Xeon monster, and it uses iSCSI over 10 gigabit. This machine is just verify that this works. Install the base system. Way to go. You know? Yeah. I'm just going to reply back to our good man. And let's see. I'll just snip out some of this. Yeah. Just carving out an email. A much older and smaller Ultra SPARC to I can't spell, ULTRA Netra seems to be working just perfect. I am doing the install now, live, streaming on YouTube. To say the least, it is a slow and boring stream. But it works, so there. Alrighty. And it works, yeah. I'll just hit send. Yeah, iSCSI installation. Right there on the razors. Okay, from here on in, there's no sense in watching anything else. The installation is just going to do what it does, and we end up with a bootable disk, SCSI disk slot ID 0. It works. It works. So, you know, there you have it, right? I mean, there you have it. Let's go over here. Yeah. Yeah, it's a sad mess. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with this hardware, right? So I wonder what Frank Schneer is doing. He may be checking out the PPC stuff. No, SPARC T5. SPARC T5. I guess, you know, could get a SPARC T5 in my life. I mean, why not, right? The trick is to get the firmware updates. No. Let's not get any more SPARC in my life. I've got piles. I got loads. I got all kinds of SPARC. You know? You know? So, I've been there, done that. That's enough of that. No. Any other computer I'm ever going to buy is going to be an IBM Power 9. But I'd like to get one for free. That's the trick. Got to beg to the right people at IBM and say, hey, those of us doing work in the open source world and stuff would really like it if you would just like get behind us and loan us a hand, you know, just grab one of them Power 9 servers you got with some memory in it, you know, nothing large, 256 gig, 512 gig of memory, and just ship that right over loaded with SAS disks. That would be great. Thank you. You know, I don't see that happening, but anyway, you know. Anyway, let's sum up. So the summary statement here is the Fujitsu M3000 is a brick. I started the day it was a brick. It hadn't even been powered on since January the 2nd of this year, because when I got into the new year, I think the first thing I said was, why am I running this thing? It's an excellent room heater, but why am I running this thing? I shut it down, unplugged it, you know, left it alone. Today, you know, brought it up, did all the XFCF stuff, diagnostics, la la la, tried to do the installation of Debian Linux using the brand new Debian installer image, which is working fine right now, but not on this machine. I get a kick out of this. A spark of steel. Fujitsu SPARC Enterprise M3000 is the entry to mission-critical system with high-end features, plus a super green product profile. It uses the same aggressive RAS functions and blah, 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 blah. Absolutely useless. 5 or 6 or 7 years later, just you can't use it. And it used to be, once upon a time, if you had a SPARC server, you could run that thing for 20 years. No problem. 2 decades. Heck, the machine that I'm currently doing an installation into right now is the Flapjack. The Netra T1, I think it was called. The Netra T1, or the Sun Netra T1, was codenamed Flapjack. Which makes sense because it's a flat little 1U thing, you know. Yeah, the old Model T1 105, that thing, that's it, the Flapjack. There you go. Oh, no. Oracle, please go away. Netra T1 4-stack memory upgrade, addendum. 4-stack memory upgrade. Well, that's what I have in it. In it is this ridiculously expensive memory. There's a ridiculously expensive memory in it. Oh yeah, and the Netra ST-D130, that was a SCSI array, 4 disks, flat little thing, you know. Yeah, the 4-stack memory upgrade addendum. Well, it's 4, never mind, it's expensive memory. The memory that went in this thing. Anyway, this thing was called the Flapjack. How old is this thing? I don't even know when these things were finally end of life. They've got to be 20 years old. These things have got to be 20 years old. That's interesting. These guys have the old Sun documentation hanging around. Flapjack. There it is. Code name. Flapjack. That's it. From 1999. The year's 2023. Let me just check. Yes, it's 2023. This is a minimum. That machine over there is 22, 23 years old. Still running. Quality. Absolute quality. And yes, you can run Solaris 10 on it. Sad. This thing? Yeah. What are you going to do? Anyway, that's enough from me. I've done enough ranting. Rant. I think at the moment there is no way forward with this unless I try something like, you know, NetBSD, which I know works because I have it running on another machine. In fact, I could drop out of the console on this machine right here. Just drop out very gently and carefully like this. Right? Drop out of the console. Go move a cable. La 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 la. This is going to be tricky. How can I do a NetBSD install? Huh, that's interesting. I have to do a reset. Sorry, we have to do a full reset on that terminal. There we go. Okay. And this is NetBSD on SPARC. You know. No, forget it. Solaris 11.3, I can't do anything with it because there's no access to updates. There's no software repo that I can get access to. There's no valid reason to be running Solaris anymore. I can't go that far backwards. I just can't. I would much rather do something very modern. You know, NetBSD 9.3 is absolutely fine. However, I'm generating a lot of heat. You know, at the door, down the hallway, just to the left. I've got far too many SPARC machines running right now. So anyway, NetBSD works. So I'm just going to shut down this machine. Should be doing a shutdown-P should work. All the way down. Now we'll power off the NetBSD SPARC machine. Done. That's it. That machine just packed up and said, done. Yep, done. Power off. It's been running for 1 hour and 27 minutes, and I'm happy to have turned it off. I'm going to not do anything with the serial console on the Debian Linux SPARC machine because I don't want to take the possibility of accidentally sending through a break signal or some other serial noise just by connect and disconnect, because that can be really upsetting because it stops everything. You know, your whole installation just comes to a halt, right? So anyway, what are you going to do? You know, let's see. Yeah, I'm hearing back from Adrian. Sorry, Glaubitz. Good to hear. He says, you should run some CPU-intensive code on the machine once it's installed, see how reliable the current kernel is. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I'll be doing a full kernel build on it, GCC bootstrap with it. There's no reason not to, right? He's absolutely correct. You know, load it up, run some tests, be happy, right? It's funny how there's a bit of a lag. Not bad. There you go. Yeah, it's good to hear. You know, run some CPU intensive code on it right there, which I will. I'll get back to him shortly. The installation is going to complete. I just want a baseline system in there. Oh, there you go. There's the Linux. We don't need SMP because we don't have symmetrical multiprocessing. We have one processor with one core. Good luck. That's what you have. So just put in that generic image and be happy. You know, I really would like to see this machine boot. You know, it'd be great to see it boot. Then just do the basic, you know, apt get update. it shouldn't be a problem because it's already SID, right? So it shouldn't be a problem at all. And initram FS tools. Now I'm going to have to make some modifications to the initram FS config stuff, or initram config, because we need a really small kernel image, really small. I can't be running, you know, great big huge. Now it says here only include drivers needed for this system, or I can do generic. Well, I've always gone with the generic, you know, everything. Never had a problem. This has to be tested. Yeah, I have to do that test. That's the way to go. And I'll be able to report back onto the mail list and let the Debian folks know. Guess what? We have another Debian Linux SPARC machine up and running. Just not the piece of hardware that I wanted to use. Yeah, you know. And good luck. Yeah, there'll never be support in the Linux kernel. That's not likely to happen. Sad but true. RISC-V, far more interesting is RISC-V. That's a good direction to look also. RISC-V hardware, sweet concept. Absolutely sweet. Open firmware, open design, open everything, with the exception of some blobs that are still stuck in things like controller drivers into certain things like PCI bus handling and whatnot. And I don't see that stuff ever going fully open, but who knows? Anything can happen. Okay, I'm summing up. That's it from me, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and kids of all ages. I think it's been a success in that successfully demonstrated that this chunk brick is not going to be running Linux anytime soon, if ever. So that's done. We've established that. Let's set it aside and just say, that's done. And for those of you that know, I may be switching over to a different streaming service because I have a fully private streaming server, not Twitch, right, or anything else. And I may switch over to that for those of you that know. But I'm not going to say anything else about that here tonight because that's inappropriate on YouTube. Thank you very much. There is a brief description of some stuff in the description of the stream. And thank you very much for listening and for your incredible patience, your perseverance, and your endless, undying support, which I've always been very thankful for. And on that note, I think we're done. And I am now going to hit a button over here that says 90, the SPARC Enterprise M3000, not going to run Linux at all, period. Good luck. Old SPARC, no problem. Yep, I think that's sealed, that's done. Let's call it a done. That's sorted out, that's done. We're done. Okay, everybody, that's it. Bye for now.